Rabbi Norbert Weinberg is a rabbi, educator, and author. In the late 1950s, he was appointed director of the junior congregation Sons of Israel in Yonkers, New York, and principal of its Hebrew school.
The thing that was bothering me very much at that time, when I was teaching children and had really very little success with the children wanted to learn. They loved it. But as soon as they got home, it didn't work because the parents had their own way. And I've begun to hear at that time the name of the Rebbe was getting very, very popular in the sense that people were talking about him. They heard about him, and he was becoming very much a force in Jewish life. And I thought maybe I could try to get to see him and see what he would say to me. Maybe he agrees with me. Maybe he thinks I should become a lawyer or a doctor. Don't do it. It didn't happen that way, I assure you. I had a cousin, Bjorn Bamberger, and he came with me. Now, one of the things that struck me immediately is that he stood up when we walked in. Me or Nochli. I mean, he had a great deal of anava, obviously, and he got up and he shook our hands. For him to get up for me, this was a great surprise, and it made me feel that he wanted to speak to us. I related to him the entire problem which I had about being very discouraged that I couldn't get any place because right away the family of the children negated what I told them, and the children wanted to learn, but I didn't see the point. I mean, what to do? So he said, listen to me, he said, I want to tell you a story. It is very difficult in our religion, by Torah law, for a Bezdin to put anybody to death. It's almost impossible. We know that a Bezdin that puts someone to death once in 70 years is called a Betin Katlanit, a bloodthirsty, a terrorist type of Bezdin. Rabbi Akiva said if it was up to me, nobody would ever be put to death because I would ask him what color shoelace did the murderer wear. Now who's going to look at shoelaces? And people would say different Adas. So then people ask, well, if that's the case, why do you have a death penalty altogether? Because it's a warning. The Torah tells us how serious it is to kill somebody. The point is that for a murderer to be put to death by a court, he would first have to have warning, Hatzra, by Shnei Eidim. 2 Eidim would have to see him put somebody to death. So the Rebbe said, can you imagine what kind of person this must be, who refused to listen to the Hasra, to the warning, who did it in front of other people, who had no shame and killed somebody. Now if this murderer, after he was mishpat to Movet, wants to drink a glass of water right before they put him to death, then he has to make a bracha the same way like the greatest tzaddik in the world. And you, he said, want to ask me about little children who are starting out in life? You're asking me what impression and what importance it is to teach these children who are guiltless, who are starting in life, who could become the greatest people, the greatest Jews. One of them could be Mashiach, they could be anyone. So if the murderer like that would have to make a bracha, the same way a tzaddik has to make a bracha, to teach a child to make a bracha, what could be greater? So when I heard this, I was absolutely stunned because such a thing never occurred to me. I never thought of such a thing. And his idea was, don't worry about it. Don't worry what they don't do. Don't worry what they're stopped from doing. Do what you can with them that they should do, and the mitzvot will have a strength of their own. It has nothing to do with you anymore. One of the astounding things that happened is when I left, the Gabayim, one of the Gabayim said to me, what did you speak about so long? So I said, what do you mean what did I speak about so long? I spoke a minute or two. He said, you were inside for almost 45 minutes. And I didn't even realize that because it seemed to me that I just went in and went out again because it was like He was like Moshe Rabbeinu, didn't eat for 40 days and nights. It didn't bother him because he was in such a state that he didn't even think of these things. So I was totally taken aback when I heard that. The difference in my life is that it gave me the chizuk, because a rabbi doesn't have an easy life. Od ma'at uskaluni. They're going to kill me. It's not an easy thing. And yet it doesn't matter anymore to me, because I know that any mitzvah that I can plant in them, the way the Rebbe said, that mitzvah is going to have a force of its own, and it'll do what it has to do.